It's a stunning Asian country with huge mountains, lakes, and bustling cities. But it also features thousands of miles of rich farmland and a history of nomads.
This is Kazakhstan, the 9th largest nation in the world.
Our team of Penn State student journalists traveled here to tell the stories of the Kazakh people and how their country is gaining new importance and respect in a fast-changing world. This is the Center County Report in Kazakhstan. Salem and hello from Almaty, Kazakhstan. I'm Yeya Wan.
And I'm Ali Satterfield. Thank you for joining us for the Center County Report special. We're going to take you around this beautiful and unique city and country to bring you some of the interesting stories making news here.
First, a look at where we are. Kazakhstan is in Central Asia. Its neighbors are China to the east, Russia to the north, and other former Soviet republics to the south. It's more than 6,000 miles from central Pennsylvania. A former Soviet satellite, Kazakhstan is now making moves to cement itself as a leader in Central Asian relations and a key nation on the changing world stage. I asked Kazakh citizens what the vision for their country looks like. Shokan Laumulin is a professor at the Kazakh British Technical University in Almaty. He's content with his life in a prosperous and independent Kazakhstan, but he still holds fond memories of Soviet times. He remembers the shock he felt in 1991 when the Soviet Union collapsed.
It was really strange, surreal thing. Personally, I couldn't believe that such a powerful bastion could fall.
For many younger Kazakhs, Laumulin's nostalgia for the Soviet era is surprising and a journey into a past they have no interest in reviving.
And when my grandmother, for now, and my mother, when they are talking about Soviet Union and the time when they lived there, they really liked it. Of course, everyone who is privileged will like it.
Shalkar Nursaitov leads the Center of Policy Solutions, a think tank based in Almaty. One of his areas of expertise is Kazakhstan's multi-vector policy. It's a foreign relations strategy that aims to maintain good diplomatic and trade relations with multiple global powers rather than aligning with a single one. Kazakhstan shares borders with Russia and China, making it well-positioned for a multi-vector policy. 34 years after independence, it's reaping the benefits of good relations with both countries, as well as with the European Union and the United States. It's become a transportation and logistics hub for China's Belt and Road Initiative, connecting supply chains between East Asia and Europe. It has vast oil, gas, and other mineral resources that are in worldwide demand. And it's fostering robust educational exchanges with the top universities in the world. The strategy sounds good on paper, but it's not without critics.
Our foreign policy can be described as successful enough, but at the same time is not strong enough to pursue our national interests in the global world.
One reason? Its powerful neighbor to the north still exerts considerable influence.
Kazakhstan has become more dependent in terms of politics on the Kremlin.
Since Russia's invasion of Ukraine, some worry that Russia could eventually set its sights on Kazakhstan.
We have seen the reaction of the Russia for the Ukraine to join the NATO. That's why maybe Russia wants to settle down in the Soviet Union time.
Russian President Vladimir Putin has made no secret of his goal to rebuild a post-Soviet empire. About 15% of Kazakhstan's population is ethnic Russian. Public opinion on the war is mixed. A survey conducted in February found almost a third of Kazakh citizens support or justify the war in some way. One factor, according to the survey, is the information these citizens receive has been filtered through Russian propaganda. Some Kazakhs say they're staying neutral.
And to me, the Soviet citizen, I see it as a civil war without taking any side.
As the war drags on, Laumulin maintains his Soviet identity. But Alina Kakin says she wants Kazakhstan to move away from Soviet-era values.
We still have disadvantages inside of the system of the government, because we still follow the USSR values, and not so openly maybe, but still we have the outrage of that. So, and hopefully we will just get rid of them.
As it diversifies its market economy, Kazakhstan has seen steady growth in the tech industry and green energy. Yet, Kazakhs are also feeling the effects of global inflation. Ahmed Jibek says Kazakhstan's current dependence on other powers upsets her.
It's not making me happy at all. It's not making our economy happy at all. So I hope that our country won't be depending to other countries.
Kazakhstan's domestic challenges are likely to remain complicated by its multi-vector foreign policy. Russia remains a key political ally and trading partner, and the two countries share a long history. Yet China's economic influence continues to grow. And, to judge from the English language signage and growing number of coffee shops in a tea-drinking nation, Kazakhstan is increasingly looking to the West. Climate change is an important topic around the world, and here in Central Asia, it's no different. This country has huge mountains and glaciers, but those glaciers are rapidly changing. Brian Ify reports.
The silence at 10,000 feet in the Tian Shan Mountains is deafening. But what you see is amazing. Pristine glaciers set against blue skies, these living masses of ice are vital organs for over 2 million people in the nearby city of Almaty. People depend on the meltwater for drinking and irrigation. But the glaciers are melting as temperatures in Central Asia increase over time.
As a regular alpine climber, I will say yes, it's true. The glaciers have been changing.
Vitaly Zhdanov, who earned the Snow Leopard Award for summiting the 5 tallest peaks in the former Soviet Union, has seen the effects of climate change firsthand.
Since 1999, when I started to do alpine climbing seriously, a glacier called Maladyozhny has degraded a lot. In the past, we had used special alpine crampons to walk on the glacier. Right now, Glacier Maladyozhny has degraded a lot. There are falling rocks, and the whole path is partially ice, partially rocks.
Since scientists first cataloged the 400 glaciers surrounding Almaty more than 70 years ago, nearly half of that glacial area has vanished. We're over 11,000 feet above sea level to observe the glacier Tioksu, which since 1957 has been one of the most observed and recorded glaciers in the entire world, and since that time has lost approximately 60% of its total volume. It's been predicted by climatologists and glaciologists that the Tioksu Glacier could potentially disappear. Their data shows it has steadily shrunk over 7 decades of measurement. Almaty depends on snowmelt from glaciers like the Tioksu to feed rivers, streams, and reservoirs, providing Kazakhstan's largest city with much of its fresh water. It's needed for drinking, cooking, irrigation, and industrial use in the city and surrounding areas. As the Tioksu and the Tian Shan glaciers become an erratic water source, the farmers in Almaty's northern regions are facing a water security crisis. Some farmers, like Asha Isimbik, who owns a blackcurrant plantation in the foothills of the mountains, are already feeling its effects.
Inconsistent water flow leads to a deficit of water during some months. Because of that inconsistency, it has affected us. There are days and weeks where there's too much water, and by the end of the summer, there's not enough water.
To fight the water shortages, Isimbik installed drip irrigation tubes on his plantation. This water-efficient method of irrigation feeds water to plants through small tubes. It's initially cost-heavy to install, but Isimbik made profit in only 2 years. The Kazakh government provides subsidies and loans for farmers looking to install water-saving technology. Across the country and all of Central Asia, receding glaciers are forcing people to change the way they consume water.
We need to have a sustainable attitude towards water resources, towards water consumption, and to reconsider previous attitude. I will say it directly. It's wastefulness in regards to water resources, especially drinking water.
He says future generations will need to change their approach.
Because the deficit will happen because of the growth of the population. In Kazakhstan, in Uzbekistan, the population is growing. The square footage of irrigated fields is increasing as well, and you need water for all of it. The source for everything is water.
In the Tian Shan Mountains, I'm Brian Ify for the Center County Report.
For roughly the past decade, Kazakhstan's next-door neighbor China has been repressing an ethnic minority group known as the Uyghurs. Now, some of them are living here in Kazakhstan. I looked into their cultural revival here. At Creative Studio Sunshine, a dance studio in Almaty, young dancers connect with their cultural roots. Shahinur Enverova teaches them traditional Uyghur dances that incorporate artistic aspects of Uyghur culture and language. A cultural revival is underway here. The Uyghur people of Kazakhstan are preserving who they are through art, language, literature, and community. The Uyghurs are a Turkic ethnic group that historically lived in the Xinjiang region of northwest China. Over the centuries, Uyghurs have migrated throughout Central Asia. Some settled in Almaty, prompted by repression in Xinjiang. Chinese authorities there have been cracking down on Muslim minorities, most recently beginning in 2017. By last year, Kazakhstan was home to nearly 300,000 Uyghurs, making it the largest Uyghur diaspora according to Freedom House, and one of the most robust cultural revivals in Central Asia. For Anne Varova, her lessons are more than dance. She also teaches Uyghur vocabulary words, since some dance movements are named in the mother tongue.
Now, our future generation knows little of their own language, and by means of teaching them singing or dancing, some elements are named in Uyghur language. So through that, we partially teach children to speak Uyghur language.
Sunshine also offers singing lessons in the Uyghur language. Students learn the history behind each song that commemorates their cultural roots. Almaty's Uyghur community is also finding a digital space through the Digital Yurt Instagram account and chat room, created by Saeed Maximov to foster a supportive online community. Maximov described the encrypted chat room as a virtual home for Uyghurs to connect, like the traditional nomadic homes the project is named after. Chats are organized by topics, like music, stories, and language, so people can find like-minded peers.
Maybe we can actually share some problems or issues we have, and together, collectively, we could solve it a little bit faster, or at least we can show some support to other group members.
Chinese officials have targeted Islamic minorities like the Uyghurs, but in the majority Muslim nation of Kazakhstan, Uyghur people can practice their religion freely. 71-year-old Mihriban Sabatova set out a staggering array of dishes for her family to enjoy at iftar, the meal breaking the Ramadan fast. From fruits and nuts to meat-filled pastries and noodles, the spread was a culinary representation of her identity, as a Muslim Uyghur and a proud Kazakh. As they sat down to eat, Sabatova's family surrounded her. They broke their fasts with a date and zamzam, holy water brought from Mecca, before they passed plates full of appetizers. They also ate Kazakhstan's national dish, beshbamark, made of horse meat, dough, and vegetables. Each dish honored different pieces of her cultural identity as a Kazakh Uyghur.
Kazakhstan is my motherland. I was born on this land. I studied here. I drank the water of this land. I ate its bread. This is my motherland.
Most Americans have never traveled here to Kazakhstan, but you might be surprised to know it's becoming a more popular tourist destination. Tegan Mayer has that story.
Antonina von Leer knows the art, architecture, and history of Almaty. She also speaks fluent English, which makes her a sought-after tour guide for the growing number of international tourists visiting this Central Asian country.
Basically, even now, still today, locals seeing like a person speaking English and walking on the streets, it will immediately catch the attention because the city is still not used to that.
Kazakhstan has seen a 60% increase in the number of international tourists from 2023. According to the Ministry of Tourism Sports, that's one reason you can find more English speakers. The former Soviet Republic is also welcoming Asian neighbors.
So we are probably one of the few countries who have granted visa-free regime to the two countries with the largest population on the planet.
Nearly 1 in 5 international tourists to Kazakhstan in 2023 were from India. People like Dr. Chandrakant Borsa.
We heard that Almaty have very pleasant climate. Also, people are very kind to others. That is why we choose here.
With its stunning landscapes and new tourism opportunities, Kazakhstan is attracting adventure seekers and cultural explorers.
The mountains are just 30 minutes away from the city center, and then 6-hour drives, and you can find a completely different landscape and scenery, from steppes to almost deserts to, again, snowy peaks and mountain lakes, all within 12 hours ride.
It's a beautiful day here in Almaty, Kazakhstan, one of the fastest growing tourist destinations in the world. The U.S. State Department also rates Kazakhstan as safe, even compared to some European countries. As the number of visitors grows, tourism is set to account for 8% of the nation's income this year. Kamila Azerbay is a manager at Kazal Hotel. She says the rapid growth is driving tourism industry expansion.
For summer season, our hotel now is already sold out, and so that's why we built our second property, and second property is already sold out. So it makes very hard for us.
Revenue from hotels and other lodging grew by 27% last year. Many hotels and restaurants try to cater to international expectations while keeping a Kazakh flavor.
How you know, we are international hotel, and of course Kazakh nation is very kind, very friendly, and so that's why we try to include all these aspects to our service, and we want to show them these things, and to feel the people's more safety, more comfortable there, and we want to show them our friendly service for a lot of the people.
But with growth also comes challenges, like daily gridlock on downtown Almaty's main boulevards. Experts say infrastructure and community involvement must keep pace with the rising demand.
We need collaboration, we need to improve community-based tourism, community involvement.
From skiing and hiking in the nearby Tian Shan Mountains to enjoying the many city coffee shops popping up, Kazakhstan is quickly becoming a destination for tourists worldwide. In Almaty, I'm Tegan Mayer for the Center County Report.
Like many other nations, Kazakhstan sends students and scholars to American universities. Part of their outsourcing comes from the Bolashak program. Colin Chrissy has more on the education system here.
Samgat Yermekbayev has a prominent role in higher education in Almaty. He's a vice rector here at Sapayev University. He's also a proud Penn Stater. He earned a Master of Laws degree at Penn State through Kazakhstan's Bolashak International Scholarship Program. It looks for some of the brightest young Kazakh minds, often from lower middle class backgrounds, and sends them across the world to attend universities. The only catch? Bolashak recipients must return to Kazakhstan after their graduation and work in the country for at least 5 years. Yermekbayev says students who go through the program find success in their careers.
They get an appointment from in all the top positions, and they're doing very well.
Along with the Bolashak program, the Bologna process has been key to Kazakhstan's strategy of international education. It's a framework for higher education that defines student qualifications and learning outcomes.
The main idea was to have a general standard or general requirements for whole entire world universities, to recognize their transcripts, their diplomas.
It's all part of the country's education philosophy to give students opportunities at world-class universities through partnerships, and then making sure those students return to contribute at home. There are other reasons too. With neighboring Russia at war and China exerting more global influence, Kazakhstan wants to show itself as an important regional nation.
And again, studies show that education is typically the best form of soft power. It's not coincidental that all of a sudden we have much more American interest in Kazakhstan, or much more French, or German, or Chinese, or UK.
Nina Gapoldas is a Princeton University student fellow at Narhos University, helping students with everything from resumes to international job applications and even teaching a class.
I feel like the curriculum is not very, I have a lot of freedom, right? And so I'm able to create a course that I think is going to be an effective way to teach, and I think is going to be an effective thing that students need to know.
Gapoldas is also an advisor to the university's English language club. English is becoming increasingly important as the country sends more students abroad. Education is just one piece of a large puzzle of Kazakhstan's international recognition and cooperation, much of that tied to global politics.
We are pragmatic in the sense that we understand that there are, objective reasons for why all these countries are interested in us, and we have to take advantage of that. Because one thing that Kazakhstan deals with, unfortunately, is just the fact that we're not widely known. It's not even the fact that there's negative information, there's no information. So when I'm trying to sell and promote the host, what I feel like I'm often doing is not selling the host, I'm selling the country.
In Almaty, Kazakhstan, I'm Colin Chrissy for the Center County Report.
There's still so much more ahead on this Center County Report special, including a spotlight on domestic violence and a famous case that sparked change here.
Also coming up, a closer look into the world of sports here in Central Asia. Domestic violence is a problem in the U.S. and around the world. Here in Kazakhstan, it was criminalized just last year, and a recent case made national news. Amy Schaefer has the story of the continuing fight for women's rights.
Last year's trial of a high-profile government official convicted of murdering his wife raised hopes in Kazakhstan for legal reforms to fight domestic and sexual violence. The live-streamed trial led to the passage of Sultanat's law, named for the victim, Sultanat Nukyanova.
My sister married a man who killed her.
Domestic violence, once only a civil violation in Kazakhstan, is now a criminal offense, but activists say there's still a long way to go.
We have a law itself, we have articles. We still on the practice, like when a woman comes to the police station to make a statement on the abuser, it might be not accepted by the police officers. They might still victim blame and ask, "What did you done so he beat you?" The judge can ask such kind of question. So basically, despite that we are changing the legislation, we also need to change the practice.
Before Nukyanova's death, protesters publicly demanded reform at a march held on International Women's Day in 2023. This year, activists were not allowed to march on the holiday. Instead, feminists and activists against domestic violence held a private event in the city. Their message? Government institutions and police forces that should guard against domestic violence are ineffective and sometimes can cause harm, posing legal hurdles that can leave survivors without justice.
One of the demands of our fund is that those people who work directly with survivors of violence, that they go through a course on gender and empathy building, which means they have to be prepared mentally. Because what we observe are outrageous cases when the survivors are going through another sort of violence, violence from police officers. The way they talk to survivors in an accusatory tone and put responsibility on them.
In a country that doesn't recognize same-sex marriage, two lesbian feminists, Janar Sekerbayeva and Gulzada Serjan, have been vocal advocates for survivors of domestic and sexual violence, especially those in the LGBTQ community.
Why we should ask permission of some kind of bunch of men who is even not interested, not supporting us, who even don't know what is to live in a woman's body? What is about double stigmatization which lesbians experiencing? For example, I experience double stigmatization. I'm not accepted because I'm lesbian and also not accepted because I'm a woman.
Sekerbayeva says in February, police detained her and held her in prison for 10 days, including during International Women's Day. The reason? She says it's because she organized an unauthorized protest that called for a life sentence for Nukyanova's husband and killer, rather than the 24-year sentence Kwandyk Bishimbayev is serving.
And we went there because we wanted to say something and shout about it. And because of that, we were punished.
Activists say their fight is far from over.
Our government is playing with fire.
In Almaty, Kazakhstan, I'm Amy Schaefer for the Center County Report.
In January of 2022, what started off as peaceful protests became known as Bloody January. One Kazakh activist shares his story. Natalie Leslie reports.
For Darhan Sharipov, the event known as Bloody January still casts a dark shadow over Kazakhstan. A peaceful protest against rising oil prices began early in 2022 in western Kazakhstan, quickly spreading across the country as it became a general anti-government demonstration. In Almaty, it turned violent.
When we came to the square, it seemed like a war zone. It was scary. When we were approaching the square, we saw a lot of different young people who arrived in just a car. They were quite charged. They had sticks in their hands. They were openly going against the police. On the fire trucks, there were people with loudspeakers, and they shouted with a flag of Kazakhstan, and they were shouting that they will die for this country. And it was very, how shall I put it, spiritual. It was resonating with the crowd, and everyone was shouting. Everyone was supporting, and I also shouted.
To quell the rioters, President Kassym-Jomart Tokayev issued a shoot-to-kill order that left more than 200 civilians dead. Almost 10,000 people were arrested and nearly 1,400 were convicted, with little or no evidence of terrorism and other crimes.
If you ended up in a hospital with a wound, they didn't care how you got wounded. It just meant that you participated in protests, and that was the reason to apprehend you, to take you to the police station. And then we were reading, after Kantar, what happened to those people, how they got tortured, how they were held without water, without food, how they were beaten, how they were tortured. There was a feeling that they will start putting pressure on us. I had a panic attack. Some of my friends were abroad at that time. They told me to leave the country urgently now, especially because you were in the list of arrested, and they can come and get you.
Sharipov was arrested and jailed. He was jailed again in 2023 for his activism, but he continues to advocate for civil liberties.
We Kazakhs have this belief that if something happens, then it is meant to happen, and you can't do anything about it, and you just need to let that situation go.
According to a 2025 report by Human Rights Watch, Kazakhstan has not launched a meaningful investigation into Bloody January, and there continues to be minimal accountability for law enforcement officials.
In a nationwide effort to return to their roots, Kazakhs have taken to incorporating traditional wear into everyday fashion. Charlie Plant has the story.
In this country where mountains meet cities, Kazakhstan's nomadic culture dates back thousands of years. Now, just 3 decades removed from Soviet rule and culture, Kazakh designers are transforming the fashion industry by integrating traditional designs, colors, and motifs into their work. You can see it everywhere, from clothing and accessories to paintings and tattoos. Traditional clothing like this, with its detailed designs and vivid colors, was once a familiar sight on the steppes of Central Asia. Now it's appearing on the streets of Almaty as modern Kazakhs incorporate their nomadic ancestry into everyday and special occasion wear. Kazakh ornaments are a symbol that dates back to the nomadic past, when people lived close to nature and traveled with their animals in search of grazing lands. The intricate designs may be pictographic or geometric. They're imbued with symbols that often represent nature, like the ram, said to help with luck and vitality. Many people embracing the rebirth of Kazakh culture wear the ornaments on rings and earrings. Jewelry was an important aspect of nomadic culture as people could easily transport it. Kazakh art paints a more literal picture of what this lifestyle was like. Galia Kuseniev, a deaf artist, uses oil and acrylic to convey Kazakh tradition such as this. After a woman gives birth, she is not allowed to leave her home for a month. To help take care of her, her friends and family visit with gifts and food. Kuseniev's twin, Bota, also a deaf artist, creates pottery with the same mindset. One of her recent pieces represents current life and the passage of time. She created horse heads, an animal that was vital in this nomadic culture. She uses different materials to represent various eras of Kazakhstan and the fusion of past and current culture. They are weaving tradition into new styles for a new generation. I'm Charlie Plant, reporting.
There's more ahead on this Center County Report special. Stay with us as we bring you more from Almaty, Kazakhstan. When it comes to sports, Kazakhs like their soccer and tennis, but they also have a connection to ancient times and the nomadic culture across this country. Nick Schimminger takes a look at a very unique sport.
On a semi-frozen field of grass and mud, men on horseback whip their horses towards the action. Like soccer players, they try to gain possession of their target and transport it to a goal, hoping to score more points than the opposition. Unlike soccer players, these athletes are not battling for a ball. They're fighting to capture and score a headless goat.
Көкпар біздің ата бабамыздан келе жатқан ұлттық ойын.
Kokbar is the game of our culture, our ancestors. It's the game of Central Asian people, of the Turkic-speaking people. It's the game of strong men.
Батырлардың ойыны былайша айтқанда.
Kokbar, a brutal and thrilling horseback sport, is one of the oldest nomadic games in Kazakhstan. Riders fight for a goat carcass weighing 40 to 80 pounds and try to carry it to a goal shaped like a tire. Players wear high leather boots and a helmet for extra protection. For centuries, this sport has been a symbol of Kazakhstan's nomadic heritage. It evolved from hunting skills. In ancient times, riders would chase a wolf. The fastest rider would slam the wolf to death with a club and ride off with it, while others tried to take the animal to earn the distinction of bringing the wolf back to the village. Today, there are different ways to play. In the more structured version, 2 teams of 4 compete against each other. The free-for-all format is much wilder, with no teams and any number of riders fighting for the goat. The playing field is more than twice the size of an American football field, and competition spans 2 20-minute periods. Danir Dauki owns the Dauki Cook Bar Club on the outskirts of Almaty.
You have to be a brave person as well. So if you don't have enough heart, it's very hard to play.
The game is physically demanding, as players ride horses at high speeds, boxing each other out and sometimes holding the goat with their legs. Players hold the whip with their teeth to free up their hands. Training can begin at a young age. Some players grow up training both themselves and their horses, like this 11-year-old.
I'm playing with my father. He's basically training me. I started playing with my father since my childhood. It's an adrenaline rush. It's interesting, and I feel strong like a man.
Kazakhs play this rough game and fight to win, but hold no hard feelings after they play. Players in this Muslim-majority nation pray together before and after the match. During Ramadan, they train and play for fun rather than having competitive matches. After the match, players come together for iftar, the evening meal ending the fast during Ramadan.
When big crowds gather, we play Kokbar. When there's a beautiful big celebration, we play Kokbar.
The game was banned in the Soviet era because it was considered too cruel, but it was still played in rural areas where the tradition was kept alive on the steppe. The sport has seen a revival in recent decades, gaining attention worldwide as Kazakh Kokbar players post videos on social media. The thrilling highlights of players chasing each other on horseback have won over new fans.
Right now, from about 10 years ago, the interest in the game has been increasing because of Instagram and TikTok. People see the excitement of the people on horses engaged in this activity.
There's even a Kokbar team now in the United States that joined last year's World Nomad Games in Astana, Kazakhstan. The Kazakhs won the game with 112 medals. From Kazakhstan to the U.S., these athletes and their horses are making names for themselves and their nomadic culture.
Kokbar is a mirror of Kazakh character. It's basically we are nomads. We are nomads now, but we used to be nomads. Our ancestors were nomads, and we have a character of nomads.
In Almaty, Kazakhstan, I'm Nick Schimminger for the Center County Report.
That's all for this Center County Report special. Thank you for joining us.
And a special thanks to everyone here in Kazakhstan for their help with our stories. Goodbye from Almaty.